This was sent in on Twitter using the hashtag #CornyDriveThru from Mark in Dryden. Did Jim catch the Triple H 25th anniversary segment on SmackDown? If so, your thoughts on the entire segment, or how about just when Vince showed up?
You've been chomping at the bit. I know you have, salivating, drooling even, because you made me watch it. I didn't want to do it. And then I said, do we really have to talk about it? He said, well, I mean, if we run short of questions. And then just right off the tip, I don't want to, I don't mind knocking Triple H and Michaels for I don't understand what they were doing unless they were just tickling themselves. That's what two guys sitting around say, oh, we ought to do this. Yeah, we ought to do that. Or riding in the car. Yeah, we can do that and that, but not really to actually do it. Even if I'm sure some people, I loved the self-deprecating nature of the segment where Triple H, as played by Paul Levesque, actually made fun of his own character. Because there's that element out there in the wrestling community these days. But in what fucking world of a wrestling promoter's mind does it make sense even to make one of your legendary fucking iconic wrestlers look like a fucking dipshit and have him and his friend out there doing funny haha with each other with nobody there to laugh, so it's even less funny than if a few fans were tickled by it because they were working with him. They made, whether you like him or not, it made Triple H, and then the people just said, well, fuck. Yeah, he did get the shit kicked out of him all the time. He didn't get beat all the time. And maybe he wasn't as good as we thought he was. The whole segment was geared towards skewering him, and he was going along with it. Am I too old-fashioned, Brian?
It is funny when they showed the montage of people beating him at WrestleMania. It did get me thinking. The two guys he did defeat at WrestleMania, of course, were the WCW guys, Sting and Booker T.
So I didn't understand that part. I don't think Michael's nearly half as funny as he thinks he is. But then when Vince came, I haven't seen Vince in a while. When was the last time Vince was on television? Well, at least on a television show that we reviewed or watched or have talked about here. It's been a while, right?
I don't know if he's been on any of the shows we've reviewed in the last 6 months. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. The last thing I remember with him was the XFL announcement, which is a while ago.
Well, and even I don't know, maybe once again, because that's where there was a press conference, there's people around, whatever the case. No, I have never felt sorry for Vince McMahon before. But it's not like I think he's on the verge of death, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying Vince looks old and human for the first time. And he looks like his dad, the old picture of his dad on the cover when his dad was gray-haired and facially. I mean, he didn't command the room. He didn't have the voice. He is not 6'3" anymore. It doesn't look like. He didn't slay it as a performer. He didn't. He made Joe Biden sound like the fucking Federal Express guy. He didn't come to a point well. He didn't have those sly inflections. He seemed like he was out of breath doing the promo. That's the first time I've ever seen Vince where he looked like, in person or on television, where he looked like a normal human being that could age and get old and he's off his game.
I actually heard from someone who's a former WWE employee, and I'll stress employee, not a wrestler, someone who worked in the office, and they had not seen Vince in a while, and I hadn't been watching, and then I went and sought out the clip after I heard from this person, and they said, is Vince sick? he can't stand up straight, and it looks like he's out of breath. And I said, oh, that's surprising they would air that. And then I saw it, and I said, wow, he does not look well.
Well, I mean, the part about Stan is I mean, he had the quads torn. He's had, issues. I would assume when he started taking bumps off top of cages when he was 60 or whatever, that probably didn't do him any good. But he just, he didn't have the energy. He wasn't Vince. And yes, Vince would exaggerate his mannerisms and his voice, and he would exaggerate everything about him when he was on television, but it was all still shit that Vince did for real if you were around him for any length of time in person. And he's one of those guys that you don't ever expect to get old or be different or not, or just be human. And, I felt bad because, I mean, he's almost 80. How old is he now? 76? You're doing math with your fingers and your toes?
I was actually looking up what his age is.
Oh, cheating, eh?
I don't remember what year he was born.
He is... So, I mean, when you think about it, he looks great for your normal fucking 75 or 80-year-old fucking guy. But
he's 74.
74. Okay, for your normal 75-year-old guy, I think he looks pretty fucking good. But it didn't look like they left the hanger in his suit jacket. Like, that's what I was used to say. It looks, every time Vince walks out, it looks like they left the hanger in his fucking coat. Because his shoulders are just back and the whole thing, I know if he's still breathing, he's still training, but he's lost some size, but obviously wouldn't you? But it just, no, man, he looked, and everything he said at one point when he started telling a story, and it sounded like your uncle at Christmas when he wanders off in the middle of, not wanders off verbally in the middle of, I remember one time, and he's, in Birmingham was one of my better towns. He just, Vince was human there, and that's shocking to see.
It's interesting when you take that Vince and you think about all the stories we've heard in recent months about guys wanting to get out of the WWE, and Vince pitches them on ideas and says, oh, it's such good shit, or tries to convince them that an idea is good, or at times maybe even dances to music that he wants them to take with a new gimmick to show them how good the music is. I mean, it's not 55-year-old Vince, it's this Vince.
Yeah, well, and 55-year-old Vince could get away with that because he could, as Christine Jarrett used to say, he could say the glasses off your own face. He could talk you into anything. And you had to kind of laugh when he was dancing with it. Remember I told you a story when he made Too Cold Scorpio Flash Funk, and they sent him out on a dark match just to, see what he was doing. And they didn't have music for him yet. So I had driven to that taping, and I had my cassette tapes in the car. I said, I got Rick James. Okay, so he came out to Love Gun, but they started playing it. Vince was walking out, and he does the fucking strut and the dance and the whole nine thing to Love Gun all the way to the ring. It exists somewhere in the WWE library off a dark match of Too Cold Scorpio's first Flash Funk appearance. But this one, no, I can understand why. Because that's something also you never heard of guys actively trying as hard the last couple of years to get out of their deals, as with some exceptions. I mean, Brett or whatever the fuck, that whole saga. Because Vince could always talk him into it. And that has been strange that the last couple of years he has not been able to talk people into some things. And this Vince I can understand.
Any other thoughts about the ending of the segment, or any other thoughts about the Triple H 25th anniversary? What do you think about 25 years of Triple H?
Okay, well, first of all, the ending of the segment when he walked off and did the exaggerated, but that was inside. They were doing inside stuff with each other. inside family stuff and, et cetera. They showed that on television, right? This was not just
it was the lowest rated Fox SmackDown yet.
On Fox, they showed this.
Yes.
I was going to say it wasn't just for like NXT or the website or whatever. They showed that on Fox. Okay, nobody got it, and nobody was, I don't think, touched by it, except people that are already wanting to be touched by anything that's touching about Triple H. Those people were touched. Most people were not touched. If they were touched inappropriately by that segment. Well, Triple H, he's had a longer run than almost anybody else in the WWE, but he has, of course, the familial advantage, as we've talked about. It's not like he's sucking or doing a bad job at anything, but he's not going to get fired anyway. So I can understand why, depending on how long he lives, he has another 30 years or more until he looks like Vince of being with the WWE. So I think a bigger accomplishment is probably Taker, that he lasted this long without, actually being married to the family. But congratulations, 25 happy years, almost like the Mickey Mouse anniversary. 25 happy years with the mouse ears. Why did they, instead of doing something nice for him in a cool video and whatever, why did they go for just his friend roasting him and then Vince coming out and not really being very good?
Some of the choices they've made
they didn't do anything. This was not just like the rib you showed me. There was not like a real ceremony where they put him over in a big video and all the accomplishments. And then Shawn Michaels said, this was just it.
No, that was it. That was what aired on TV.
All right. Okay. Well, they came up with something on the sperm of the moment, didn't they?
What'd you think of Stephanie calling Shawn Michaels, what'd you say, cross-eyed idiot?
Oh, no, you lazy-eyed. And he hung up on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's two guys came up with that like they would on a car ride. Yeah, we can do this and we can do that. And she could say, but they really did it on national network television in front of people. And unfortunately not in front of people, but in front of viewers at home. So even if they were laughing, you couldn't hear a comedy. By the way, Bill Maher, I think, has found out you can't do a fucking monologue with no audience. It falls flatter than a fucking plate full of piss. And that's exactly what they did. If Bill Maher can't do it, Triple H and Shawn Michaels can't do it.